3.5 meters floor-to-ceiling windows in the penthouse. Just imagine the natural light coming in here, fully flooded over the whole property. Absolutely spectacular. Does this particular asset tick all the boxes in terms of the requirements when it comes to acquiring prestigious homes for my HNI and Ultra HNI clients? Where we find brands like Rosewood, Aman, Capella. H&H is actually the company, the developer, that are behind all those brands. And this is why we see so much value for money with this iconic trophy asset. Imagine waking up to panoramic views of the Palm Jumeirah and the Arabian Gulf from your beachfront penthouse suite, which feels more like a private resort. Welcome to Dubai Harbour's most iconic residential masterpiece, where every single detail was crafted to perfection for a future owner who desires long-term value, prestige, and exclusivity. Bonjour! Hello, welcome back to Deals with Simon, the channel where we are diving into off-plan ultra luxury developments in the range of 3 to 30 million US dollars here in Dubai and Abu Dhabi. And in this particular episode, we're diving into a one-of-a-kind beachfront penthouse suite, which is a part of the Harbour Residences by H&H, crafted by the international architects of Nick and Zekai, who are behind the One Sabil here in Dubai as well. This product combines it all because I looked at it from different perspectives. I looked at it from the investment point of view, specifically the short-term resale potential with the attractive payment plan. I looked at it from a long-term resale value, the capital growth behind it. If you compare this asset with established communities and a similar construction quality somewhere else in Dubai, especially on the coastline, because here we're speaking about the First Water coastline. And I looked at it from an end-user perspective as well. So I asked myself the question, does this particular asset tick all the boxes in terms of the requirements when it comes to acquiring prestigious homes for my HNI and Ultra HNI clients? And the answer is clearly yes, because we find the private beach access, number one. Then we find floor-to-ceiling windows of 3.5 meters. We find a large, huge layout in itself. The services, the amenities, the facilities of the building in itself, the more limited collection of units overall in this particular building compared to all the neighbor buildings. All these different aspects, I counted them all in and I came to the conclusion this is probably one of the highest valued assets which you can acquire in the whole Dubai Harbour master plan. With that being said, let's get into it. Let's understand who's behind their prestigious developments before I'll give you a better context of the location, the master plan, and obviously the project in itself. Because understanding the team and the developer behind a potential product that we are acquiring, this in itself gives us an indicator of the resilience, the stability of the price development and of the investment factor long term. With that being said, let's understand the two most important names behind this overall project, which is number one, Jamal Holding, and number two, H&H Developments. I keep things very short and simple, but it's very important to understand the background because these two names, these two firms, their impact is absolutely powerful when it comes to the landscape of Dubai's real estate market. And insiders know that because Jamal is owned by Sheikh Hamdan, the Crown Prince of Dubai. So you see the connectivity to the royal family on the one side. They are a very diversified investment firm. They are behind some of the most iconic brands, brought them to Dubai. They are behind Skydive Dubai. They are the actual master developer of the whole Dubai Harbour master plan. So they're very much interested to craft every single detail the way how they envisioned it initially. On the other side, we find H&H. They are around since 2007, so basically nearly 2 decades of experience. They are behind the Four Seasons private residences here in Dubai. They are behind the Baccarat in downtown, the Four Seasons hotels in Jumeirah and in the AFC. Then we are familiar about the Secret Island, which is right next to Jumeirah Bay, Bulgaria Island, where we find brands like Rosewood, Aman, Capella. H&H is actually the company, the developer, that are behind all those brands. So that shows you the massive impact. They are only interested in crafting iconic buildings, iconic developments, and exclusive experiences for the actual clients. So basically a very boutique developer, and that's the background, and that shows us basically where we're standing with this particular project. Let's continue with a quick look into the actual location of the Harbour Residences within the master plan, and more importantly on the map of Dubai. So what really sticks out immediately is that the Harbour master plan, which is marked here in brown, is positioned centered right in between the famous and established Palm Jumeirah, Blue Waters Islands, and here we have the Marina and JBR. And what super important to understand is that all these three communities which I mentioned right now, they're completely done, they're completely established and fully matured, and the harbor is the only development, the only master plan which is up and coming, which is still emerging, okay? And I want to focus on these blue buildings which you see here, because these are the harbor residences, and here we find technically 6 buildings, okay? 3 which are for sale, and especially building C's, which we're looking into today when it comes to acquiring these stunning penthouse units. And the other 3 buildings on the other side of the road, they are kept back by Jamal Holding and by H&H, because as already mentioned in the beginning, they are an investment firm and they're keeping properties, they're renting them out, and this is a part of their business model, okay? So this is basically the overview. What's very, very important is to understand the traffic situation. Now, obviously, when it comes to JBR, when it comes to Marina, when it comes to the Blue Waters Islands, people are well aware of the traffic issues, especially in between, let's say, 5 p.m. and 7:30. This is the rush hour, and it's very tough to get in and to get out of the marina, especially to get in at this particular time, okay? And that's exactly why we find the Dubai Harbor Bridge, which is right now under progression, okay? And it connects you directly from the E11 all the way to the entry of the harbor, which is here, okay? Within a couple of minutes. So the E11 is exactly this road here, okay? The famous highway of Dubai. And that means that we're reducing the traffic from 12, realistically 15 to 20 minutes to get in, okay, from Sheikh Zayed Road when it comes to the exit, okay, directly to the community, and we're speaking about 3 to 5 minutes technically. And that's is another big USP for the community, and that will elevate the prices enormously once this bridge is established. And these are the most important facts when it comes to the actual community. In terms of the other buildings around, we already know that there are a couple of neighbor buildings, residential developments, especially here with the buildings of Shoba Sea Heaven. We find 2 buildings here and here by Damak Bay 1 and 2, and Arara has the development with the W residences exactly here. That's for it, for the location, to understand exactly what's around and where we're located. And let's finally get into the details of the stunning developments. Again, I want to keep things very short and simple, and that's why I've broken down everything into a couple of bullets to demonstrate you the most important USPs in a nutshell. First things first, the architecture by Nikken Sekai. I already mentioned that in the beginning. They are a Japanese firm, and they are behind the One Sabine, which counts as one of Dubai's architectural landmarks. They really focus on design, they focus on precision and the attention to detail, and that reflects actually in their portfolio. Number 2, we're speaking about a low-rise, ultra-private and exclusive concept. So when we're speaking about this particular development, comparing that to the neighbor buildings, we find definitely a higher level of privacy, calmness, and that for me is a true residential comfort, especially for HNIs, for ultra HNIs, and especially for the one who's owning this incredible penthouse in this development, okay? Then we find a total amount of only, quote unquote, only 345 residences. They contain of 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom homes, and then we have the 2 iconic 4-bedroom penthouse suites, large layouts, okay, all over the across the actual units. Then next one is the private exclusive beachfront lifestyle. So this is one of the most important key parameters of the overall development, because you have your private beach, because you have the Marina Promenade, and obviously cafes, dining, restaurants, everything on a very upscale, on a higher level, because everything is developed right now. Next one is then obviously the direct beach and, more importantly, the marina access, because we have a yacht club right in front of the door, again the boulevard, and then different leisure zones. When it comes to the amenities, okay, we find a variety of absolute high-end 5-star amenities in this building, especially the rooftop infinity pool, wellness zones, fitness suite, okay, a spa treatment area, and then there is a private beach lounge. So when it comes to like networking, the kind of people you meet in this particular residential building is definitely an upscale, because people who buy such a product, they are premium clients, okay? Because premium attracts premium, and this is exactly what you can have here in this beach lounge. Then next one, the resort style interiors. So basically here, I want to focus on the open plan layouts, especially the high ceilings with 3.5 meters floor to ceiling windows in the penthouse. Just imagine the natural light coming in here, fully flooded over the whole property, absolutely spectacular. Expansive terraces, which you see in the layout in a second, and then leads to a seamless indoor-outdoor living experience. That's what the interiors basically reflect. The interiors are matching perfectly this beachfront ambiance, okay, especially when it comes to the palettes, to the colors then as well. The hospitality level service, this is very important, especially for high-end clients. They expect nothing less than 5-star management. This is what we can find definitely in Jamal Holding and H&H developments, okay. Then the views, super important. We have panoramic views towards the Palm Jumeirah, the Ain Dubai, Arabian Gulf, and obviously the skyline of the marina when it comes to the penthouse. And with the penthouse, we find the dual views, So that's exactly why I mentioned here selected residences, because we're looking into the boulevard and into the beachfront, the Palm Jumeirah, when it comes to the penthouse. These are, in my opinion, the most important USPs of the overall development. Let's have a quick tour through the actual location of Dubai Harbour. This is the current construction progress of Q4 2025, and it's going lightning speed. In the background, we see a couple of buildings of the Emaar beachfront, another master plan that technically sits on Dubai Harbour, and we obviously took the chance to step into the sales gallery of H&H, crafted for this unique development, the Harbour Residences. It is clearly a low-rise development, and it is the only low-rise building or project in the whole area. And for me, it's always important to identify every single detail before I can confidently recommend this product to a client. And here I'm showcasing the views and especially the neighbor buildings here with the Shoba Sea Haven development, building A, B, and C. So you only have premium developments in the overall master plan. And this is a clear picture of the particular plot position and the current construction of the actual building, of the actual project, the Harbour Residences. You can see a lot of construction is going on in the overall area, but it is very nice. It is absolutely beautiful, especially here on the boulevard, on the boardwalk, next to all the boats, all the yachts. This is a pure waterfront destination. And there we are in the developer sales gallery, specifically crafted for this particular project. I just wanted to spend a minute here to demonstrate to you the position of the buildings as well as the views from your penthouse. So particularly, we find building A positioned over here. In the middle, this is building B, and this is then obviously considered as building C. And speaking of the views of the penthouse, which is positioned and sits right here on the top floor, okay, this is the unit 801, and the 3.5 meter ceiling height allows you enormous volume and daylight throughout the property. So basically the views are absolutely breathtaking. Speaking of views, in the morning at the sunrise, you're looking towards the Palm Jumeirah. Then on the afternoon, this is the view towards the Arabian Gulf. You're looking in between two buildings of the Emaar beachfront, and towards the backside here, you're looking exactly into the boulevard, into this greenery, the landscaping, and even partially of the Blue Waters Island. Let's get the hard facts out of the way and let's discover the specifications of this exquisite penthouse suite. So the unit number is 801 in building C, that's why it's called C801. The type is considered as a 4-bedroom simplex penthouse suite, okay? We find it on the 8th level, on the top floor, that's why it's considered as a penthouse. That should be very clear. And the total area, the total size of the property spans over 8,018 square foot as a total, okay? Divided into 5,100 square foot internal and 2,900 into external space. The total asking price of this stunning asset is 42.4 million dirhams / 11.5 million US dollars. And lastly, I want to emphasize on one of the most important aspects why this acquisition of this asset makes so much sense, even from a short-term investment point of view, because we find a 40/60 payment plan. Very attractive and very rare nowadays, especially in this luxury / ultra luxury category. So what that means is we have a 5% payment at the beginning at the booking, together with the 15% on SPA. Okay, so up on SPA, we need to complete the 20% down payment together with the 4% DLD normally. But in this case, we don't have a DLD fee, we have a DLD waiver, which makes it even more attractive because we are technically saving 4% of the overall purchase value. Then we have 10% payments, okay, 1 and 2, exactly 12 and 24 months, so 1 year and 2 years after the completion of the paperwork of the SPA. And that leads us to a 60% on handover. So that means the handover is on Q4 2027. That means that the 60% can be either mortgaged, so we're using OPM, other people's money, number one, which makes a lot of sense in this case, or we resell the unit even before, and I'm going to explain that in a second when it comes to the different investment variations. And now that you're fully aware of the specifications, let's embark on a journey of this magnificent simplex penthouse suite, which comes with 4 spacious bedrooms, a maid's room, and a gorgeous family lounge. And once you step into this property, it greets you with an expansive living area, especially 22 meters of uninterrupted open space. And that is the seamless integration of living, dining, and panoramic viewing zones. So when it comes to the full sea views, the palm views, and obviously the boulevard, it couldn't be better. You have a private access through the direct elevator, okay, into a dedicated foyer, so you're never sharing your elevator with someone else, which is an additional value when it comes to the privacy. Then we have a U-shaped terrace layout that allows you to customize the position of your private pool as well as the outdoor entertainment zone. So whether it be the sunrise or the sunset orientation, completely up to yourself. We have impressive 3.5 meter ceiling heights. So the floor to ceiling windows allow you a lot of volume and light getting into this property for the perfect experience. Then each of the bedrooms feature a large walk-in closet as well as ensuite bathrooms. We have elevated fit outs Okay, custom features when it comes to the bespoke finishes and the design elements compared to the standard units. And then again, the unobstructed views towards the Palm Jumeirah, and that is a guaranteed long-term value of the asset. The penthouse is definitely a one-of-a-kind penthouse because it doesn't exist a second time in this tower. It's only 2 units in the overall project, the overall development, and this is why we see so much value for money with this iconic trophy asset. I'm pretty sure that you and me, we both agree to the fact that this property seems like a highly valuable asset. And I want to make it even more obvious, and I want to demonstrate you some more facts why this is not just a dream home, but basically could be seen as a pure investment as well. And therefore I came up with 2 different calculations and scenarios. One is a more short-term example, okay, where we execute a fast resale close before handover, and the other example is a long-term appreciation of the actual asset. That means we are keeping it just for a couple more years. So let's start with the first one. Let's consider we are acquiring the asset for the asking price of 42.4 million dirhams, okay. 8,000 square foot total size would result in 5,291 dirhams per square foot. So the price per square foot is absolutely reasonable in this particular case. And what I did is I calculated an annual appreciation of only 7%, although in the luxury and ultra luxury space it's definitely more. It's in the 2 digits already, but let's say 7%, okay, over the course of 2 years, because the handover is in Q4 2027 and we are now in Q4 2025 when I'm producing this particular video. So that would result in approximately 14.5% total appreciation on the actual value of the asset. That would result that we have a resale value of 48.1 million dirhams, okay. This would be the gross profit, but this is not the most important. The most important is that we have the 40-60 payment plan, and we calculate this example on exactly 40% equity. So 16.9 million dirhams is the total equity that you put into this deal, means 4.6 million US dollars. And on the equity calculated, that would lead us to a 33.5% return on equity. So even if this asset is only seen as a pure investment on a 7% yearly and annual appreciation, okay, due to the fact that we have the 40-60 payment plan, it makes a lot of sense to acquire it and close before handover. Let's say half a year before the handover, we can actually list the property, okay, and we resell it and we generate more than 30% equity return, which is absolutely spectacular because there will definitely be an end user buyer who wants to live in this particular asset. This is the opportunity number 1, which we have when it comes to the raw investment. Example number 2 is the perfect strategy for someone with a long-term horizon. And these are my favorite type of investors because they understand if I'm acquiring myself an asset in real estate, it takes time till we reach the pinnacle of price points due to the fact that we have the property appreciation. So basically, once the asset is still under construction, still in progress, we are nowhere near the pinnacle. And on the other side, the infrastructure appreciation, okay? Think back to the location when I explained the harbor is still very much underdeveloped and very much in progress when we saw basically the insights, the scenes when we went through the community. And on the other side, we have to accept the fact that there's no bridge yet, that the restaurants are not really there yet. So basically all these aspects, when they are established in the community, only then we reach the pinnacle, and only then it makes really sense to actually exit our investment with the highest potential capital gains, okay? And this is exactly what this example reflects. What I did is I calculated 7% average capital growth per year, okay? Average of the next 7 years. Why did I do that? Because if you look in the actual secondary market, we have a complete lack and undersupply of penthouses which are completed and which are available, okay? The listings are declining from year to year. We barely have these kind of sizes. We barely have a construction quality, okay, of an H&H, for example, in the prime location of beachfront or seafront icons, okay? And all these characteristics altogether shows me that calculating 7% on average for the next 7 years is more than realistic, and this is exactly what we can find here right now in the numbers. So basically, let's consider we acquire the asset for 42.4 million dirhams. Again, the numbers don't change here. 8,000 square foot, 5,291 dirhams per square foot is the price. Now I calculated here the 7% with 7 years, and that would result in a resale value of 68.1 million dirhams slash 8,500 dirhams per square foot as the resale benchmark, and that's a total compounded appreciation, okay, of 60.6%. And then if you calculate again equity 100% paid, so the full price here, that would be a return on investment of the whole full payment of 60.7% if you round it up. And that is exactly what I see as a realistic investment and what's the best possible choice in order to own an asset where you can potentially live in for a couple of years and you resell exactly when we reach the pinnacle. Numbers, facts, and figures. That in combination with the wealth of insights I provided you throughout this video about this particular product. And if we all break it down and summarize it, I'm pretty sure that we all agree to the fact this is a steal deal and this is huge value for money. 5,290 dirhams per square foot is absolutely reasonable and justified in my opinion to acquire such an asset and keep it for several years for yourself, live in it, experience it, and then resell it on a huge premium. Or you are the smart and fast investor and you're getting into such a development, you're using the 40-60 payment plan and you resell close before they hand over on 40% equity. From different angles and variations, it makes a lot of sense. And honestly speaking, I've done my due diligence and I spoke with a lot of people and I haven't found a single catch about this particular product. And the only question that really comes up is how long is this asset going to be available till someone makes a decision and actually goes for it and is then the proud owner who ultimately charges a premium once he or she decided to actually execute the resale. And if you see yourself living in this asset or you want to go for it as an investment or you're looking out for something very similar to this particular project, then this is the perfect time to take action. I urge you to book in a private one-on-one consultation. Just click the link below this particular video, fill out the form, give me some upfront information as much as possible, as accurate as possible in order for me to prepare myself for a meeting and then together with you craft a strategy and break it down and tailor it exactly the way how it fits into your unique requirements, into your overall vision and plan. This is exactly what I do. This is exactly what I like to do. And with that being said, take action, click the link below this particular video, fill out the form, see you on the other side, and I'll see you in Dubai.